We begin in Iraq as it plunges deeper into chaos. The top Shiite cleric issued a call to arms Friday, urging Iraqis to defend their homeland as militants closed in on Baghdad. Fighters from the group the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, or ISIS, made new gains, seizing 2 more towns northeast of the capital. And a UN official is warning of human rights abuses and hundreds of killings in the region. Meanwhile, U.S. President Barack Obama says he's weighing options to counter the insurgency. CCTV's Sean Callebs is in the newsroom with more on that. Sean.
Well, thanks, Elaine. The Iraqi government has watched the radical jihadists envelop a great deal of territory in the northern and central portion of Iraq. President Obama is meeting with his National Security Council to plan a course of action. One thing is clear, the U.S. doesn't want to obligate arms and pilots unless there is a way to find a long-term solution ending the chaos in Iraq.
Good morning, everybody.
The pleas are urgent, but President Obama made one thing crystal clear.
We will not be sending U.S. troops back into combat in Iraq, but I have asked my national security team to prepare a range of other options that could help support Iraq security forces.
The options likely include airstrikes, and there are reports that the U.S. has moved an aircraft carrier into the region. Sectarian violence is ripping Iraq apart. Sunni Muslim insurgents have used lightning-quick attacks and seized a series of cities in Iraq, Mosul, Tikrit, and Baiji, the site of a massive refinery that can produce around 300,000 barrels of oil a day. Obama says the U.S. can't secure the country for the Iraqis, that they must do that themselves.
The United States has poured a lot of money into these Iraqi security forces, and we devoted a lot of training to Iraqi security forces.
But Iraqi forces dropped their weapons and ran when Sunni militants stormed the city of Mosul.
The fact that they are not willing to stand and fight and defend their posts against admittedly hardened terrorists, but not terrorists who are overwhelming in numbers, indicates that there's a problem with morale.
Obama making it clear Iraq's Shiite Muslim Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki must find a way to integrate disenfranchised Sunnis into the government somehow. He says he will not involve U.S. military in the growing crisis unless Iraqi leaders address underlying problems.
This is chaos.
Military and foreign policy analyst Mark Perry says many nations around the world believe the U.S. created this mess, and it's America's job to clean it up.
We were responsible for overthrowing the government of Saddam Hussein. We're largely responsible for Maliki being the head of that country. We trained that military, which has deserted in the face of battle, and we're responsible for a great deal of this.
There is also the belief that the U.S. is in the default position, meaning no other country is going to go in and try to drive out the radical jihadists. For Obama, it could be just one more international frustration. He wanted to be the president known for ending the fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq and making a pivot toward Asia. And now analysts say every time he attempts to pivot, Obama must look over his shoulder at what could be his real lasting legacy. Elaine?
And Sean, this situation has been changing so quickly in Iraq. Does the U.S. president have the time to consider a thoughtful response as he's indicated?
Well, he's made it clear he is going to make the time. You're exactly right. We have seen lightning fast raids that began in Mosul and now enveloping a number of cities. It would seem the situation focuses on the kind of action that needs to come quickly. Obama says this is something that's going to come in days. Don't look for hours. He's going to meet with his NSC advisors. He's probably going to meet with the Joint Chiefs and probably going to weigh in with members of Congress to make sure they are on board with anything that happens. And clearly he wants to get intelligence from Iraq as well. It's not going to do any good if a ship off the coast or if fighter planes move in and they fire smart bombs or cruise missiles and it doesn't do away with the problem on the ground. And secondly, he needs to have some kind of commitment from Iraqi leaders that yes, they are going to reach out and bring the Sunni minorities into some level of power sharing within that country to try to appease them.